I feel like a lot of the traditional views on money, especially for people who have grown up in poverty or even quote unquote middle class, like those sections of people learn a lot about, oh, you gotta save up for something and try to live within your means. And I know we don't make a lot, but really we just can't afford that. When you're poor or when you're struggling, you know, it's partially good to teach perseverance and to teach patience. That's definitely a good thing, but there's no hope. There's no teaching about when to spend. There's lots of teaching about how not to spend and how to be afraid to spend. And oh, look at that person, they're spending way too much, they're buried under debt. You know, they got desperate. Let's not be desperate because we're saving, we're penny pinching, we're keeping so tight on ourselves that we're not gonna get buried under tons and tons of debt. And then sometimes, still, the debt comes to knock on the door because living, especially in this country, can be very expensive. We get taught so many things that are like counter helpful. It reminds me of dating apps. It feels like dating apps are set up and designed to teach you all the things and skills that you need for getting divorced. How to get rid of someone quick, how to not give them a chance, how to not care about their personality and instead look at their pictures and stuff. Oh, there have to be a certain height. Oh, they have to earn a certain income. Like, there's these stupid requirements, and it's a checklist of superficial, shallow things instead of anything that adds depth or fulfillment to life. And you go out on one date, okay, screw them, I didn't like it. And in reality, most people on a first date are either super anxious or trying super hard to be overly perfect. And so they're not being their real selves, and so you never even gave their real self a chance. Like, dating apps teach people to Photoshop and that they can't be real. They have to be as perfect or as fake as possible, and that's not how you have a long-term relationship. And so you end up literally learning skills to close yourself off, to be guarded. Oh, these people keep treating me like jerks. Well, obviously they're all just jerks. Or, oh, these people keep treating me like, you know, they're just not going to show up and they're going to ghost me. Well, fine, I'll start ghosting back. And ghosting's how you end up in a divorce. You are learning skills that are not helping you. And I feel like when you grow up in poverty, when you grow up in the middle class, and you're learning skills, they're skills that are self-defeating. Because if you save infinitely, you could get to the point, I have seen multimillionaires that you go and try to help them create a budget, or at least I try to help them create a budget, and you try to give them splurge money. Okay? Money that they can spend on things that they genuinely want in life. They've worked hard and gotten to the point where they actually have the money to spend, and they still are intimidated by spending it because it is ingrained in their head that they have to save up for that they have to wait for that they can't just have that. You get to people who are in retirement age. I just dealt with this with my own parents. My father, he and my mom travel half the year because they worked their butts off their entire life. Like, they definitely earned the ability to do that. And he owns a fishing pole in 2 states, but 6 months out of the year, they live in a specific state. He doesn't have a fishing pole there, and he wanted to go get a fishing pole. And my mom freaked out. She was like, you already have fishing poles. You have too many fishing poles. We can't get any more fishing poles. And she's like so scared that they're gonna run out of money now that they're retired and not working. She can't understand the concept of they have money coming. It's okay. She also is terrified about his health because he does get health issues. I mean, my father has been a bricklayer since he was 10 years old. He got in an airplane wreck when he was in his early 20s, and his body got wrecked. I mean, my father has taken a beating physically from the life that he led. And so he does have some health issues. You know, she worries about like all the costs for things, but at the same time, I've helped them with their budget, and I've helped them with some stuff. When they retired, they didn't have any real investments, and I helped them to get set up a little bit and talked to my father and stuff, and I basically forced my parents. I insisted to the point where they felt like they didn't have a choice, that they had to go talk to a lawyer, they had to go set up stuff, and they had to go and talk to an accountant and get set up. Actually get set up. And they have a budget for, we can spend a certain amount of $100 a month on things that we want to, but she's scared of actually using it because, you know, their whole time they were constantly in a state of, we have to save, we have to save, we have to save. My father, when he was younger, really struggled with money a lot, all the way until I would say, you know, almost 40. When my mom met him, he was still recovering from some of that, and she doesn't trust that he won't end up back that way somehow. That if he buys one fishing pole, what if he ends up buying too many things? They're not the richest people in the world. I mean, they're retired, and thank goodness he has a bricklayer pension, so they don't only have Social Security, but they don't really have all the money in the world to be just doing whatever. But at the same time, they do have a budget, and in the budget is a splurge section. That splurge money should be for pursuing their hopes, their dreams, learning new talents and skills, exploring and traveling, and she'll spend some of it to travel because it means she gets to go visit all the different grandkids in different parts of the country. I have a lot of siblings, and that means I have a lot of nieces and nephews. You know, she loves to see all of them. But when it comes to buying physical objects, she gets scared. She's scared to spend money that she actually has and that is available. Right now, the way that they're set up with investment, they should not run out of money, like, period. Like, my father and mom could live till they're like 140, and they would not run out of money because they have enough investment reinvesting in itself to keep it going. So unless something absolutely outstandingly crazy happens, they should be fine as long as they stay in their budget. She's like, we have to stay way under the budget. We can't spend ourselves $100 a month. We have to only spend every once in a while because she's so scared, because it's so ingrained in her. She is defeating the point of having money with the beliefs and the systems that she was taught when she was younger. They got reinforced as she became an adult. And he has some, you know, misconceptions about money himself. Let's not, you know, leave him off the table. He definitely has made some financial mistakes in his life. But the point is we get taught when we're poor really, really just how desperate we can be for money. People on dating apps are desperate for some sort of a relationship, but every single thing that they're doing is leading them further from an actual in-depth relationship. But I do know that according to recent research, it's 65% of women and 50% of men are not looking for a relationship, period, in the United States of America. Like, at all. They don't want to even try because it's too hard and too painful. Money, I feel like, is right along that same bend. For so many people, it seems like money is too hard, too painful. I don't want to even try. It is so hard to imagine being to a point with money where a person could feel secure enough that they need to even have the skill or knowledge on how to spend wisely. They're constantly scrimping, they're constantly saving. The only thing that they can quote unquote spend on is bills, is rent, is trying to survive, is paying for food, is paying for shelter, is paying for clothes on the back. Survival mode is hard, for sure, but survival mode is not meant to be forever. We're not taught the skills on what do you do if you get out of survival mode. How do you change? You carry that same mindset of survival mode into when you're not under those same kind of constraints anymore. And the skills that you get taught are not helping or benefiting you going into having something. It's so important to understand that The desperation for money really is a truly real thing up to a certain point. And then once you get to a certain point, things are covered. And that pressure can start to relieve. Now, I'm not saying have lifestyle inflation and, oh, you know what? Now that my bills are paid, I'm gonna just buy everything under the sun. Obviously, you need to have balance and you need to set up an actual budget that you can stick to. But it's so important whenever I do budgeting with people, I say, here's the bare minimum that you need to survive, so that they can try to get it through their heads that they're allowed to spend, that they would be okay if they spend. Because the bare minimum is smaller than what they think it is. And then here's in reality the necessary things you're gonna keep, and then, you know, here's the things that you're saying yes to, but maybe are temporary and you might just get rid of them because maybe they're not fulfilling you. And then here's your splurge money for the things that genuinely fulfill you. This is the money that buys quality for your life. You've got your bills covered, you've got your bases covered, you're not in debt. Start adding quality to your life. And people struggle with that so much. As a person who talks to people about their budgets and tries to help people with their budgets, like, trying to help people get over that particular hurdle seems really difficult. It is so important though, because life is not just a grind. Change happens, and we can get so used to being stuck and in a bad place that it's hard to recognize when we're not in that anymore. It's like the old metaphor that used to get used when I was a kid of, you know, you keep a tiger in a cage, and eventually you open the door to the cage and the tiger won't even leave because he thinks the only space he has is inside that cage. Don't do that to yourself. You're being very, very well-intentioned by learning the skills that are available to you when you are poor and that are reinforced to you by your parents, by, you know, the way that you grew up. Absolutely, you are learning some decent things and you can take nuggets of real truth out of them, but don't let them hinder you. And then go reward yourself with learning something you've always wanted to learn, or trying something you've always wanted to try, experiencing something you never thought you'd get to experience. Buy that thing that isn't junk. Buy that thing that is satisfying. A lot of people, when they're feeling down, maybe they'll just go buy random crap trying to create treats. I see a lot of parents do this with their kids. They waste the entire splurge budget on just, I'm gonna buy something cute for my kids. And it's junk, it's crap. Like, the kid doesn't even like it after the first day that you buy it for them. But they just keep buying random junk. They just walk into the store and it makes them feel better about their life that, oh, I can buy this little $1 and $5 crap. Even though it's clutter, even though it's not actually useful long-term in their life. And they do that instead of realizing that if they set just some of that money aside to invest into their own self, not only would it, like, help them and give them something that has value for a longer term, but also it would show their kids a different way of treating money, a healthier way of treating money, and a healthier way of treating themselves. If you show your kids that you are worth investing in, then when they grow up, maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to think, I'm worth investing in. If you teach your kids not just how to save, not just how to try to avoid debt, not just how to try to stay on top of bills, not just, oh, I gotta create some sort of rainy day fund, but if you can actually teach your kid, here's how we spend, and spend wisely. Here's how we keep a level head and stay calm while we're spending. Here's how we invest into things and research. This is worth investing into. Here's how we say, you know what? I have value. My lifetime is going to be filled with learning new things. And I have money that can help me choose what those things are instead of being forced to learn new things. Eventually, the goal is to get to a point, not just where you have some extra money, but where you feel secure in actually using it. Learn how to spend, not just how to save. Because if you don't learn how to spend wisely, you're gonna spend in ways that hurt you. You're gonna spend in ways that cause you to be divorced from your money. You're gonna spend in ways that cause you to constantly be insecure about your money. Just like on the dating apps, they're constantly reinforcing not trusting other people. Continuing to not trust your money is exactly what you're doing to yourself. Be real and be honest with yourself. You can get into being able to invest quality into your life. It just requires a different skill set.